Okay. Is that Michael? No, it's Brian.
No, it's Michael.
Michael, whoa. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's still day by day, or
Yes.
it's you're back?
No, it's day by day.
Got it. Okay, Bezer Hashem, only good stuff.
Amen.
We won't start any
okay,
rumors, but it seems you two don't want to be in the same room.
Well, okay, hopefully that'll happen soon. But regards from the city, and I'm parked right in front of the house by the bris, so hopefully all is good. Okay, so we're up to Toshima. We're still in the middle of this sugya of Aimei Kaparitz. When you have a Paritz Kaimei, if you have 50-50 of wall and airspace, exactly 50-50, what's the halacha? Is it acceptable like Rav Papa, or is it unacceptable like Rav Huna Radio Yeshua, who requires majority of actual wall to open space? So we are now going to continue trying to prove this halacha. Tashma. So we're up to Tezayin Amin Aleph. Tezayin Amin Aleph, 2, 4, 5 lines from the top. Okay, so it's a big brisa, a lot of stuff going on, and it's not the easiest Gemara, but hopefully with everything we've done already so far, hopefully we'll get through it. So Tashma. Nim says at So it comes out based on everything that we've been saying. This is now we're entering into the world of Klayim. In the world of Klayim, we already know that to allow you to plant vines on one side and wheat or any other type of grain on the other side, you either need to be separated by a certain distance or you need a wall. And the wall is sufficient to allow you to plant on the other side. But you need a valid mechitza. So not l'chayra, we are clearly going to be extrapolating the guidelines of the walls of Kalayim over to the guidelines of the walls of Shabbos. So it comes out, so the Bryce, it sounds like it's sort of, recapping and summarizing what's been going on. So it comes out that there are 3 different calculations and measurements and contexts when it comes to mechitzas. So let's go through all 3. Anything that's less than 3 tfachim. We have a wall less than 3 tfachim. In order to validate and to create walls of strips of wall that are less than 3 tfachim, in order to make them good, you have to connect them in a way where there's not more than 3 by 3, not more than 3 tfachim separating them. In order that a goat can't jump through them. Okay, so even though there's loved obviously also at play when it's less than 3, but 3 here is taking on a different dimension of also. If it's 3 tfachim wide, then it does not allow you to view it as a wall because it's just too big of a gap. Because a goat can jump through it. So basically, number one, if you have less than 3 tfachim, even if the strips of wall are also less than 3 tfachim, that will be valid as long as you can use lavud to connect them. And if you're using lavud to connect them, then you don't have any issues of too much airspace because the lavud makes it connected, right? So the whole idea is, we mentioned this before, the whole idea of the more open space and closed space does not apply to the lavud principle. So if you wanted to, if you had like a picket fence, okay, or one of these, the wrought iron fences with these strips of mail coming down, as many people have surrounding their pools, there's no question that there's more airspace than closed space. But since it's loved, it's less than 3, and a goat can't jump through it, then it's all going to be seen as connected. Okay, so let's go. I think we should go one by one with the Rashis because I think the steps of the Gemara are going to be important. So let's do Rashis on each step. So step number one is when you're using lavud. So let's take a look at Rashi. Nimsis at Aimer. Reisha b'mesechus Klayim. Taninallah. Okay, this is a Reisha b'mesechus Klayim that this is learned. Koshu pachas begimel. Kol Geder, also Bekonim, Aim the Pachos, Mirochav Gimel, any type of fence that's made with reeds, okay, or any similar material that stands less than 3 away from each other, they stand less than 3 wide, okay, so notice they're very narrow. So they're going to leave a lot of space open to you, okay, so they're less than 3, they can be less than 2, they can be really anything, okay, but if you want that to be a valid wall, we're in Rashi, meaning to say, Rashi says, lehedja, that the goat can jump straight through it, head first, without any impediment. The kiras gedim vantala mitaras lavud. Because if a goat can jump through it and easily make its access, through the gap, then that's not really called connected. And you can't use lavud when you have that situation. So notice that, the gedi and the laws of lavud, parallel each other. Very, interesting. Okay, he says, and if there is no distance of 3, so a goat can't easily jump through it, so you are able to use lavud. I feel parts muba al-aimed, even if you have more opening than closed space, going kanim shall bays, it's both. Like, for example, if you had reeds of only 2 finger breadth, and you have 2 tfachim separating each other, like mamish, like those pool fences where there's a lot more opening than there is closed, but nevertheless, each piece of metal of the fence is less than 3 tfachim from each other. It could be 2 tfachim from each other, allowing lavud to work. Kosher. So that is a valid wall. The kol revach pachos begimar min lavud v'kol evaymed. It's like it's all connected. So in this world, in the world of lavud, you don't see open space. You're all closed. And therefore planting on the other side of that lavud fence would be totally acceptable. Not just for Shabbos, but even for Klayim, where you might think you need physical fences, the answer is you don't. You just need a legal fence. And even though there's way more opening than there is closure, it's still a legal fence to allow you to plant on the other side. This is category number 1. Okay, let's go to the category number 2. Let's go back to the Gemara. Category number 2 is koshu gimel umigimel adalid. Anything that's 3 wide and from 3 to 4, basically from 3 to 4 tfachim, including 3 tfachim. The Mishnah is very clear that it's including 3 tfachim, and this will come back as a relevant issue later on in the Gemara, hopefully today, but maybe tomorrow, we'll see. But koshu gimel, whatever is 3 tfachim wide, umi gimel adalid, and from 3 to 4, so if you want that to work, because clearly, if you're going to have equal space, you're going to be out of the lavud world at this point, right? Because now equal space of 3 takes you out of lavud, because that's too big of a gap. So how are you going to get this wall valid? Okay, so if you have from 3 to 4, you need not to have enough space to fill up to be equal to the wall. One more time. You can't have gaps equal to the wall. In order for the parrots not to be like the omei. So, and we're reading it. Reading it very straight. No complications. In order that it should not be equal open space to equal closed space. Right. So if we stop right now, we'd clearly have a problem on who? We'd have a problem on Rav Papa, right? Because Rav Papa says Paris Kaimed is good, and here the Mishnah seems to be saying, if you're in the world of 3 to 4, you have to make sure not to have open space equal to wall space, okay, in order for there not to be an equal amount of Paris Kaimed. Sounds exactly like a Rav Huna Breid of Yeshua Mishnah. Okay, let's keep going. Let's just, step by step. Okay, and if Taka, you have more open space than closed space, negating the wall. Okay, I understand that you've negated the wall, but have you negated the ability to plant right opposite each piece of wall? In other words, as a whole wall, you can't plant along the whole way, but maybe I could plant, a little bit of small barley or wheat right opposite the 3 tefach wall or the 3.5 tefach wall. Maybe that's okay. So v'imaya paritz muruba aloimed af keneged oimed aser. Even the opposite, the oimed, it's aser to plant because your wall is not thick enough. Since it hasn't reached 4 tefachim, the individual a piece of board of wood that's creating the wall is not acceptable to be considered a wall. Okay, so you have to, as we're about to learn, you need to be 4 tefachim wide to be considered a wall. So this is step number 2. Step number 2 is you're between 3 and 4. Clearly, the Mishnah seems to be saying you can't have equal open space than closed space. And in a case where you had more open space than closed space, which right away sounds like a contradiction, because right away now, for some reason, now we've transitioned over to the more open space and closed space. The halacha is you can't even plant opposite the wall itself, which is, let's say, 3.5 tefachim wide. Okay, this is category number 2, and let's do the Rashis on this. Okay, are we okay? Right, seems like we're good, right? So let's do the Rashis now. So now we're in category number 2. The low dal b'chlal, right? So Rashi is very clear. This is from 3 to 4, but not inclusive of 4, because the minute you're going to get the 4 tefachim, there's going to be a different rule. But from 3 to 4, you need to have apparently. So let's see the next Rashi. Okay, you can't have between each one the distance as much as the wall. If the open space is as big as the wall, that's a problem. The whole comma, do I have a kimiluo? As long as it's not as much as if the open space is not as big as the wall, avagav deve revach shlosha, even though it's 3. It's the space is 3 tefachim, because so clearly lavud is no longer a factor, because you can't use lavud. Even though I made rabba love, since you have more wall than you have open space, lekla meimar, you no longer can argue asyavir the haigis or the haigis and vatalei. The open space can't nullify the closed space if you have the total amount to be more physical than open space. So, in other words, apparently what he was saying is if you have, in the other case, when you have more open space, even the wall becomes like it doesn't exist. That's why you can't plant against the opposite the wall. Okay, 1 second. But if you have more wall space, then you can't nullify the wall. You can't nullify you can't nullify the wall, right? He says, let's read that one more time. Let's read the Rashi one more time. As long as if it's not like if the opening is not as big as the wall, even though there's 3 tefachim separating, since the mice you have more wall than opening, you can't argue that the wall is nullified. How can the wall be nullified when there's actually more physical wall than not? And we view them as simply doorways and openings, as opposed to open space that will create a problem. It will not create a problem because at the end of the day, I made rubala porridge. So right away we have in this very few lines an inherent contradiction. Is your goal? So it starts off sounding like 50-50 is good, and it ends up that 50-50 is not good. You have to have more oimei than porridge. So we'll have to see. So v'imhaya porridge, right? Right. We did that, right? V'imhaya porridge ka'imed k'eged Is that, 1 second. I'm at Usher. Close shoe. Okay, right. No, I'm saying we didn't do that Rashi yet. Okay, so we've done category number 2. Category number 2 is between 3 and 4. Okay, he says you can't have the equal distance between the two of them. You need to have more wall than open space. But then it says very parts Muruba made Av Keneged Aymed Aser. Okay, but if you have more open space than closed space, and even the closed space becomes Aser, and you can't plant against it, and end of story. So that's between 3 and 4. Now we're ready for the third category. Okay, so we're going to have to keep all this in our heads as we're going to analyze this whole thing, because it's, like I said, it's going to get a little complicated. Because right now it's real easy. Okay, next category. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. Okay, Kol Shu Dalid, anything that's 4, so now you got 4 tfachim to 10 amas. Okay, so if those wall spaces are between 4 and 10 amas, 4 tfachim and 10 amas, same deal. You can't have the open space equal to the closed space. Okay, shelo yeh paritz playmate. Again, it's sounding mamish like Rav Huna Bredi Rishua. You can't have the open space like the closed space. V'imaya paritz playmate. Okay, and if it is, if you do have paritz playmate, okay, and thereby nullifying the validity of the walls, right? Because we just finished saying that it can't be 50-50. Again, further supporting Rav Huna Bredi Rishua. Okay, it can't be 50-50. If you do have 50-50, which is not a valid mechitza, you're not completely surrounded. So, granted, you can't plant along the whole wall because you don't have enough wall to consider the whole thing enclosed. However, since the wall itself, the individual pieces of solid mass are 4 tfachim plus, then you can at least plant opposite the wall. So, like the diagram probably you're looking at, can't see it, but I imagine, in other words, there's a bunch of walls that you can plant just opposite the wall. The opening you can't plant opposite, and you keep going, plant gap, and that's halacha because of the fact that you're not considered enclosed, you're not considered separated by a mechitza, but at the same time, if you have a wall, that particular 4 tfachim strip of wall is considered valid. Okay, so you're allowed to plant opposite the wall. One more time. Can I get parts usher? Okay. Let's continue. But if you have more wall, you have 5149, then not only can you plant against the wall, if you have 5149, it's considered that it's a full extended wall all the way down the border of the wheat field versus the vineyard. So then after get parts mutter. Okay, then you can plant along the whole way, and you're good to go the whole way through, and you can have a lot more wine and a lot more wheat that way. If now we move to category 4, okay, and that is, let's say with all the walls you have around you, you have a big gap of 10 amos. If it was broken more than 10 amos, usher. Then that destroys your ability to use the mechanism of Aymed Murubal Paritz, like we said by the hotel, the motel parking lot. Granted, you're surrounded on more than 3 sides. Okay, so you want to consider yourself enclosed. That's all fine and dandy if you don't have an opening. But if the driveway into the parking lot is more than 10 amas, you're stuck, and that destroys your whole ability to carry, and it destroys your whole ability to even plant opposite the wall. Okay, at least we'll see in Rashi. Okay, okay, we did that. I'm sorry. Nifras of Yos Usher. Okay, if it was breached more than 10 amas, it's Usher. And finally, Oyisham Kodim Hadukranim, if you had, sharp reeds or sharp poles, okay, that you can stick into the ground. You can make some kind of a nice, a vine or a string that you can stretch across the two poles. I feel mutter. So here have a tzuras of Pesach. You've strung a string or some kind of a, whatever stringy type of substance along the two poles. You've now made for yourself a tzuras of Pesach. And like we said before, that while for the laws of Shabbos, this is a big controversy, for the laws of Klayim, a tzuras of Pesach will be perfectly fine for you to plant on the other side of the wall. So that encloses you, and that allows you to plant on the other side all the way through, even though you have a break of 10 amos. Okay, so that allows you to be good to go. Okay, so that finishes the Mishnah. The Mishnah is now complete, and now we're going to go back, and it was hard enough just going through the Mishnah. We're going to have to now access the different parts of the Mishnah and see how we're going to prove either one or the other. Let's finish up the Rashis on the Mishnah. You have later on we're going to explain what it should have said if the break was equal to the wall, not more than the wall. The Mishnah sounds like it's talking from both sides of its mouth. On the one hand, it sounds like you can't have equal space and wall, and the other times it seems like if you have more open space, sounds like 50-50 is good. So this Mishnah is a very enigmatic Mishnah as far as its inferences that you can make do not seem to be simple over here. So, but if you have more open space, then you can't plant even against the wall. Okay, this is actually, I'm sorry, this is still on the stuff which is less than 4. Between 3 and 4, you can't plant. When you have more open space and closed space, then you can't use the wall if the wall is less than 4 tefachim. We established this earlier, and Rashi just confirms that. If, on the other hand, if it's from 4 tefachim to 10 amis, vad eser, v'eser b'chlal, and 10 amis is included, because we know that the problem of having too big of an opening is plus 10 amis. Not if you go mamish exactly till 10 amis, you're still good to go. Then you can carry in the Motel 6 in the driveway. But if the Motel 6 is 10 amis plus a half an inch, then you're in trouble. Okay, vad eser, the eser b'chlal, including 10. Avol yosim yud, but more than 10. Going aymed yud beis o tezvav. Okay, like for example, if the wall is, let's say, 10 or 12 amas wide, loy matzil misnei shir pitzasai b'miluai. It could not. You can't say that the shear of the opening has to be equal to the amount of the closure. That feel but to b'miluai, even if it's less, even though you have 10 amas opening, 12 amas wall. 10 amas, 10 and a half amas opening, 12 amas wall, 10 and a half amas opening, 12 amas wall, even though that's the way it is all the way around, and that's not going to help you because you have too big of an opening. The problem is you have a breach more than 10. The mitzvah kulei k'tali sefer. As the sefer is going to say, that prohibits the carrying in the entire area. So that messes you up if you have too big of a gap. And you can't rely on more wall space than opening because it's too bad. It's not good. Okay, I give up. Okay, fine. Let's keep going. Next Rashi. Even though you're not totally enclosed, and even though you don't have a valid fence all the way through. However, you would be allowed to plant parallel, just opposite the enclosure part. That would be legit. Since it is a valid surrounding, it's a valid partition. And this would be true even if it was more opening than closing. and it's really bad. It's not just 50-50. You have more opening than closure. And later on, we're going to explain, how you reconcile all these different inferences. Harekan Sholosh Midos. Okay, so Rashi now gives a little bit of a summary. Okay, in case we're a little confused, we have now a summary to help us out. Hopefully, it won't further confuse us. That here you now have three different measurements, three different guidelines regarding partition. In the first measure, where the reeds are less than 3, we don't care about having enclosures. We don't care. We don't need full, majority enclosures because you've got the Loved. With Loved, you're good to go. I don't care how much the opening is and how little the enclosure is. Loved closes it up. You've got blinders on to consider yourself completely enclosed. Even the Melua have a Pirza, Shlosha, since the gap is not 3 Tvachim, so Loved is allowed to operate in this world. Like up to the Melua, even the Melua have a Pirza, Shlosha. I feel even if it's more opening than closure, we wouldn't be bothered because, again, Loved is good, keeps you enclosed. Loved makes it like your mamish have wall, and you're in business. Okay? So you only start caring when the break is 3. Because when the break is 3, Loved no longer is operational. And once it's no longer operational, now you got to start measuring. You got to take out your measuring rod, and you got to figure things out. And the second measurement, the second category, now we start caring about, do you have more enclosure than you have opening? So ikashir pirza lemeheve kari avir. Okay, because now you have an amount of a break that's called airspace. Airspace is now real and measurable. And the open airspace comes and nullifies the walls because you can't use Loved. So now you can't use Loved. You got a real measurement issue. You got to measure everything. It sounds like even when it's 50-50, it's not going to be good enough. Okay, so that's going to be a problem for a papa. And on the third measure, that now you have real walls of 4 Tvachim between 4 Tvachim and 10 Amis. So you do have some solid walls to rely on. The airspace can't be mevatel a wall of 4 Tvachim, legamre, completely umatir miya kenegda, and if you are allowed to plant at least opposite the wall, you can take out your seeds and start planting, because at least opposite the wall, you're good to go. The klayim is not going to be considered mixed because the wall is a valid wall as long as you only plant opposite the 4 Tvachim, or opposite the wall as however wide it is. Okay, so now we've got the 3. I think we're done. 1 second. No, I don't think. No, we're not done. We're not done in Rashi. And if you had more wall space than closure, than opening. I'm sorry, if you had more wall space than opening, a kulakai. It's going on all of it. Even on the category of 3 to 4, where you have a wall space of only 3 to 4 tfachim. So Katani Bonami Kimiluo. Okay, because this rule definitely applies between 3 and 4 as well. That you can't have opening as much as closure. So that right, if it's 50-50, it's not good. But if you have more than 50-50, if you have more than Maruba, okay, you're going to be okay, and you're going to have a valid wall, and you're going to have a valid enclosure. But if it's less than the opening, then if the opening is less than the closure, if you have the opening less than the closure, shari, then you consider it enclosed, and you're good to go. So this concept of basically more wall than opening is a concept that runs across category 2 and category 3, as really the Mishnah says. If now we're in category 4, difference of yud usher. But if you have a break of more than 10 amis, then even though you are more enclosed than you are open, okay, big deal. I don't care. I feel cool. You can be completely enclosed, like the Motel 6, where you have hotel rooms, rooms all around you, and you have buildings all around you. Okay, it does not matter because you can be completely enclosed, but you have too big of a gap. Okay, so how do you rectify too big of a gap? So the way you rectify it is hayu sham kanim hadukronim mishufin kedakar neutzim baritz. So he was like pointed like some kind of a spear and stuck into the ground. We also had peya kalua milomayla mizelazeh. He made that braided type of vineyard like we saw that those diagrams, those pictures across the top of the poles that go into the ground. So which you made a very nice Turas Pesach. I feel amas mutter. Well, then the 10 amma, the more than 10 amma break is not going to bother me. The Turas Pesach mahanya b'klayim af liyosim eser. And notice the words l'klayim. The Turas Pesach helps for klayim even if it's more than 10, because by Shabbos it's very controversial. We had different opinions, but we can all agree by Klayim that the Turas Pesach does help to allow the enclosure allow you to be enclosed. So that allows you to be good to go. Okay. So I feel okay. So we actually finished all the Rashis. Now we're actually ready to go weiter. Okay, so let's proceed. And hopefully we're all together here. So let's see. Ketanimiyas, back to the Gemara, smack dab middle of the page. Okay, so after all of these four wonderful categories, let's hopefully keep them in our heads, especially tomorrow morning when it's going to be a full day between Gemaras. It's, we have to really keep it in our heads. So, Ketanimiyas, L'maisa, we did learn Reisha, in the Reisha, not Mamish the Reisha, because the Reisha is about Loved, but we're not concerned with Loved. We're in the non-Loved world, so we're really now in the second category. So, Ketani Mias Reisha, Megimel Vadalid, it says that from 3 to 4, if you want to make a wall between, and the solid part of the wall is between 3 Tvachim and 4 Tvachim, you can do that. Okay, as long as you don't have you don't have as much open space as closed space. Right? As long as it's not 50-50, it's fine. So to Rav Papa, that line clearly refutes Rav Papa, because Rav Papa clearly says 50-50 is good, and this says 50-50 is not good. So what exactly is going on? So Rav Papa says, my miluo, when we talk about the word miluo, which is a word that's used, more than once in this Mishnah, my miluo nichnas v'yotzei. A good friend nichnas v'yotzei, which is not, the word nichnas v'yotzei sometimes is used as a mashkiach who goes in and out. Here we're talking about the airspace is a little bit looser to allow a free entry of the item that you're referring to. So, the fact that the item would go through loosely, as opposed to real nice tight, like a Lego piece or a crossword puzzle, right? A jigsaw puzzle, which fits very tightly. Here, nichnas v'yotzei means no, it would fit in with a little bit of looseness. So if it's loose, then clearly there's really more open space than closed space. So by that word nichnas v'yotzei is going to be synonymous with the idea that we're talking about actually slightly more open space than closed space. So that's how Rav Papa is going to wiggle out of this issue, by talking about a type of equal space, which is really not equal, which gives you slightly more closure, opening than enclosing. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see here. So, okay, let's see. Let's just do the Rashis here. We'll probably have to pick this up tomorrow. So the first wide line of Rashi. This is what the Bryce implies. Anything that's 3 tefachim wide as a wall. Umegimel v'yadalid, and between 3 and 4. The criteria is it cannot be between the one closed space and another closed space, miluo, an amount that would fill it up with the closed space. In other words, if you wanted to fill it up, if you took an equal amount of that exact amount of the closure and put it into that open space, it would fill it up. Again, nichnas v'yotze. One more time. You can't have a distance where it would fill it up in a way where it would be very loose. Meaning, you can't have the parts, the opening equal to the wall in a way where it's nichnas v'yotze, devele parts maruba, which results in the open space being more than a closed space. And if you have more open space, even if it's mamish 5149 of the slightest amount, it's not going to be good. It's going to be usher even connected the since it's being surrounded by something which is not significant, right? Because it's not 4 tefachim wide, so it does not have the validity to allow you to plant opposite it. So not only is it not considered a wall in terms of the entire extension of the wall, it's not even considered a wall to allow you to plant opposite that area. That's not going to be valid. So basically, this brings us, at least now we have the initial defensor of Papa, or Papa now learns the words Paretz Kaimed as a Nichnas V'yosei situation. We've now defended him, and now we're going to take that concept all the way through and see how it works out. Bez Hashem, I'll see you tomorrow in the room. Shkoyach. Okay, bye.
Have a nice day.